Now, when searching for a high yield ETF to add to my portfolio, it always comes down to the same few things. Do I want to have exposure to the underlying, whether it's a stock, whether it's crypto, or whether it's a basket of stocks or ETFs? And then, of course, looking into the strategy and even the fund provider, there's a few very important things I always look at just off the bat. Now, that brings us into today's video where we are going to be talking about a brand new high yielding ETF that just started trading a few days ago. And this one's going to be super exciting, at least to me specifically, because the fund provider is one of my favorites across the entire market. And also the underlying, the holdings inside this ETF is going to offer exposure to something I do want exposure to, but don't really have much of it yet in my portfolio. Now, I promise you, if you are interested in higher income investments, you are definitely going to want to stick around for this one. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has already helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker, the one I use all the time on my videos, has also helped so many investors stay organized and has actually helped them see their dividend income grow. Well, today I have something even better for you guys. When you click the first link down below in my description and you grab my A to Z dividend investing ebook, today you're not only going to get the ebook, but you're also going to be getting the custom dividend tracker, which you can use to track your own dividend income ongoingly, get direct access to my personal email where you guys can email me any questions regarding dividend investing. You're also going to receive a link to view all of my holdings inside my 7-figure dividend portfolio and see all the positions I add and take away ongoingly. And you're going to get for absolutely free my brand new high yield dividend investing ebook where I show you the power of maximizing some of these high yielding ETFs and teach you everything there is to know about that also. This is going to be your one shot to grab everything inside of one single bundle, but you got to move quick because I'm not going to offer this for long. Now, with all that, let's get back into the video. So the ETF that I'm talking about, the ETF I'm referring to is ETY, or the Amplify Ethereum 3% monthly option income ETF, and this is brought to us by Amplify ETFs, one of my favorite providers across the entire market. I own tons of Amplify ETFs, names like Devo, QDVO, Biddy. There's tons of great ETFs in the suite of ETFs, in my opinion. Now, this ETF just started trading literally a few days ago on October 9th, and it offers exposure to Ethereum, which I personally do want to have some exposure to. I don't really have much exposure to Ethereum as of right now, but as I've stated several times before, with all these different crypto high income style ETFs that have been coming out over the last year or two, now even me, someone that's not really all that interested into crypto, does all of a sudden have some crypto exposure in my long-term dividend portfolio. Now, without wasting any time understanding what this ETF is, how it works, how much income it's set to be offering us investors, let's talk about it and dig in. Here on the fact sheet, it says Ether price upside and high monthly income, which definitely has my interest. Once again, I don't really have much exposure to Ethereum. I do think it's probably important long term that I do add some Ethereum exposure to my portfolio. I already do have a good amount of Bitcoin exposure now, holding things like Misty, holding things like BTCI and others. But it says Ether price upside and high monthly income. The Amplify Ethereum 3% monthly option income ETF seeks to balance high income and capital appreciation through investment exposure to the price return of Ether and a cover call strategy. Now, looking at Ethereum's price as I film in the video, it's at around $4,000 to the US dollar as of right now, and Ethereum's price has been all over the place. I sadly do remember buying Ethereum way back in the day at a few $100s per Ethereum, but then sold it off later on, like tons of other investors that probably would have been better off just holding on to it. Now, year to date, Ethereum has been all over the place. The low has been around $1,500 and the high above $4,700. So the fact that Ether's price is sort of all over the place, I have a good idea that a cover call strategy, a cover call overlay is going to be able to at least potentially offer a ton of income generation because the volatility is pretty decent. So it says reasons to invest, growth and high income focus. ETY is designed to capture Ether price appreciation potential and seeks 36% annualized option premium. So 36% yield is absolutely insanely high. Now remember, this is a target annualized option premium amount, so this doesn't necessarily mean that this is what's going to happen, but that's what they're shooting for. And then it says 4x more options. This is one of the things I like about Amplify ETFs. Some of their crypto high income ETFs does offer a similar strategy to this one. It says ETTY uses weekly call options, seeking to collect premiums 4 times more often than monthly options, enabling the potential for compounded income and enhanced Ether price returns. Now I understand that running more options throughout a month, 4 times more for this example, is going to make it a lot more labor intensive on the management, but there is much more flexibility and there is also much more potential compounding because when you run options more frequently, there's a lot more control within. So I do like the fact that this ETF, instead of running a monthly call option, letting it expire or letting the shares get called away, whatever the case might be, instead they're going to do 4 times more options per month, which does have the potential to really outperform. And then lastly, it says harvest volatility. When Ether price volatility rises, ETY option income potentially increases, using volatility to help enhance premium income and total returns. Now, also important, the fund does not invest directly into Ether. The annualized option premium may be significantly higher or lower than the stated range. Now, some key facts learning more about ETY. Ether is a leading digital asset with real utility. A lot of crypto investors are very bullish on Ethereum, some of them more than others. But for my portfolio, as sort of a casual crypto investor, I just want to have some exposure to Bitcoin and maybe some Ethereum. The essential fuel that powers Ethereum blockchain, the world's most widely used platform for decentralized applications and smart contracts. Ether cryptocurrency is required to transact on the Ethereum blockchain. Every transaction, contract execution, and innovation on Ethereum is made possible by Ether. Ether has an enticing growth potential due to its status needed to use the Ethereum network, and an investment asset with scarcity value and upside potential. So the way that this ETF is going to work as far as the construction goes, again, targeting a 36%, they're going to buy exposure to Ether through Ethereum exchange traded products or ETPs, very similar to a lot of other crypto related high income ETFs. Then they're going to sell weekly call options on a portion of the portfolio, 5 to 10% of the money, to target 36% annual option premium income while providing upside potential. So one thing I noticed there is that they're going to be selling calls on a portion of the portfolio, not necessarily the entire portfolio, which does mean that this ETF does have the potential for some upside, which can be nice. Now, on a weekly basis, replace expiring covered call options with new ones rolling to help generate ongoing option premiums. Again, depending on what happens in the market and the price of the underlying, this can get tricky, but it can also work very nicely. Then lastly, distribute. ETY seeks to pay monthly distributions that include targeted option income premiums. Now, one thing here I will say, I'm not trying to become a high income snob, but a lot of us investors are getting sort of used to the weekly distributions. I'm not saying that I wouldn't buy something just because it offers monthly distributions, but it would have been sort of a cherry on top, a big bonus if ETY did pay out weekly, in my opinion. So all in all, that's sort of a basic rundown on ETY, the Amplified Ethereum 3% monthly option income ETF. This ETF will likely land inside of my portfolio just because I do want to have a small portion of Ethereum exposure, but through a high income strategy, which this ETF seems to be offering pretty much perfectly. But before I go, I do have a question for you guys down below. Are we going to find ETY in your portfolio? Let us know yes or no in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like in it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.